one of the unusual things about this group is that each guy in the group can lead. Any guy in the group can do it.
Straight out the Ville, it's the Back Alley Fellas Podcast.
They said we could never make it. They said
Billy got it bumping. In the back alley. Taking shots of whiskey and only go.
It's gonna be something to see.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you now tuned into the greatest podcast in the world, Back Alley Fella Podcast. And I'm your host, Mike D, with my brother Big Pat, brother Six. As you can see, we look like the Brady Bunch on here. We got some guests, you know what I'm saying, and we gonna introduce them. But right now, I just want to know how everybody is doing. Thank you for tuning in. First time, last time viewers, the ones that's in between, we appreciate you. Continue to tell a friend, to tell a friend, to tell another friend to join in this beautiful mosaic that we call the Back Alley Fella Podcast. Louisville, stand up, 23rd Street. You know how we do. Big Pat, what's going on with you, brother?
Hey man, pleasure to be here. I'm glad we got some guests here. First, give all honor to the greatest and most high. I also want to pay homage to my homeboy, Big Red, one of the founders and innovators to get this started. And I'm glad to be here in the midst of you brothers. How y'all doing?
Brother Six, what's up, doctor?
Any day, 12 crowns a good day. All the viewers and listeners out there, tell somebody to tell somebody to tell somebody. It's glad to be amongst you brothers, man. Want to appreciate the guests getting on tonight. I want to say what's up and give shouts out to Big Fat Blood, One Time and family, and to my friends and people home listening in. Shouts out to Louisville. And I just want to say, man, it's a pleasure playing with you, brother. What's up, Mike D? How you living?
Man, I'm good. You know, it's always good when I got 3 people from Louisville and I got 1 cat from Clemson on this daggone podcast. Everybody throw the L up. That's what we do. That's what we do.
I can't throw no L's up, but I'm going to say what's up.
Oh, man, he front. But all is well, man. Yo, I got 2 beautiful brothers that's on here. Travis, Darden, Jimmy Rayford. These are my guys. You know what I mean? I met them, you know, on some play dates that our wives put us on way back when. And we became good friends, you know what I mean? And I always count on these brothers, and I made the call, and I thought, what 2 gentlemen could we bring on to do a part 2 to what we talked about before? And so, you know, I'm happy to be on there. We're going to get it started. You know, I love this beat. I love if we could go around and do a little skating joint, but we can't. So I'm going to fade this to the black. And you know what we do. You know what we do. We go around the horn. We go around the horn. And we going to see. Now, I know Pat, and I know what he typically do. So I'm going to see what he going to do today. Brother Pat, what you got in your cup?
We start the toast off, and the first thing we say is bottles. So today, I'm going simple.
What?
Got me
I'm
going simple, no mixture. We're just going to do a little Corona.
Okay. Brother Six, what about you?
I got my red cup, and I got mine's poured in it.
What you got in there?
I got what we call in Louisville some beer.
Some beer.
You got regular beer. You just got beer.
Beer.
Okay.
Beer. Yeah, beer.
Okay. That's what's up. That's what. Travis, what you sipping on, brother?
I'm sipping on some busted knuckles here, baby.
Okay.
Brown County, Indiana. I try to keep it local sometime.
Okay.
That's what's up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jimmy, do you got anything?
Oh,
Yeah, just because I'm on here with you brothers tonight, I went with a little Macallan, a little scotch.
Calvin 12.
Okay.
You know,
He
hey,
got us a sophisticated brother over here.
sophisticated. He's sophisticated. Hey, boy, I told you.
Brother Jimmy.
Hey, we moving on up to the deluxe apartment in the sky.
Oh, he did it.
Hey, I'm expecting proper English now.
Hey,
No,
listen.
don't do
hey,
that. Don't
hey,
do that. Don't do that.
Hey, listen.
Man.
4 score.
Hey, you know
Put
what?
that-
Hats off to Dallas. I'm not gonna hate. I'm still a fan, but hats off to you. I see you keep flashing it up there, Mr.
I'm
Travis.
just saying, you know.
All right. So I just got a little bit of Granny's tea in here. Y'all know what we do.
What you got?
I would tell you the recipe, but I'm waiting on some people to give us some sponsors. Crown and Pure Leaf Tea. If you like to sponsor us, then I will shout you out and put this recipe on the board. But with that, since we know that we do our libations, he already sipping. My
Let's do it.
All right,
Let's
let's
go.
go.
Kick this off.
Okay.
Cups, glasses, cups that are plastic. Alleyways backwards. Perfection takes practice. Friendship turned kinship. 2/3 of the street dynastic.
Brotherhood from the neighborhood. This podcast will be a classic. Divine state of mind, our movement subline. On the rocks, brother, give me something strong.
I can give you a mixer, slice of lime. Put your drink up. Now let's link up. It's number love in this atmosphere. Peace, salutations, brothers and sisters, the fellas. We in here. Cheers.
Cheers.
As they say, that cool, refreshing drink.
Yes, sir.
All right.
All right, there, brothers.
Going. I'm
We're
excited.
gonna jump in, and we're gonna jump right in too, because I've already heard this coming out of the back alley. I just want to confirm it. Pat, what did you hear, and is it true?
Well, I heard we're gonna go a continuation from last week. We're gonna
That's
talk
what I thought. Yes, sir.
Fatherhood and what
Yeah.
it means and what it is. And Mike's got a few questions, and let's go ahead and just get to this.
Yeah.
Okay.
So appreciate it. So what we try to do in this is, and we don't always accomplish it, but what we want to do is make this a conversation, which means that this ain't as he's watching, you know, he say something like, we jump in. So if we was in regular conversation, we butting in and we doing whatever. We say we double dutching in.
And
That
if me
being
and Mike
said-
get to arguing, hey, you know it's out of love, because me and him always, we like rams. We butt heads.
Right. And he's
So
the older
don't worry
brother.
about it. It's out of love.
He just got to stop threatening to put hands on people, man. I don't like that. You know what I mean?
Hey, I
It's
got
the law is
PTSD.
yeah, I know. I do too.
Put these across your lip.
Red G.
So what we gonna do is I got a couple of questions, man, and I just because the last time we were not necessarily all over the place, but we just touched on a lot of things. But I wanted to see if we can, with some of these questions, we can go a little deeper. We can maybe get a little personal, and then explore some things. So I'm gonna throw this first one out, and then we'll see where we go. And anybody can take it. I might just hit somebody with it. Can anyone tell me the first time you experienced your father in your life, or the lack of a father figure in your life, and what was that like? And anybody can go.
Good question.
Anybody can go.
I'm gonna jump in here. You know, man, it was funny because growing up, even though we're in the hood, my family moved out of the hood because of my father. During the 60s, he had a really good job at a place called American Standard. And, you know, back then, that was like a big factory, and he was forming there. So we moved out to the country/suburb, and he was always there for me. But then it started to fade as we got older, you know, we got into life. But my first experience was him taking me to basketball games and to play and stuff like that. But, you know, so I've always had like a father figure there. until later in life. And it's strange because when I needed a father in my life later in life, he was there, but he wasn't there. If that makes sense.
Anybody want to jump in? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think the first thing that comes to mind came to mind for me was growing up. My dad was a great baseball player, local legend. So baseball was his sport, and so it was the first sport that I ever played. And I just remember he was the coach of the team. The field was pretty close to the house, so we walked to and from practice. So kind of experiencing him as a coach is probably one of the first memories I have.
Oh, okay. Let me throw this in here real quick, Mike, because I said this last time, but if there's somebody new that didn't see it, I know I say some things that may seem a little negative, but I love my father, God rest his soul, and he did the best that he could do with what he had. He never had a father in his life, so he did the best that he could do. But now, as a father and as a grown man, I can kind of see a blueprint of some of the things that maybe he could have did better or I shouldn't do. But I do love my father and I appreciate the things that he did do.
Facts. Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Anybody else?
Travis, you want to take that on?
As I listen, so I'm the opposite of what you gentlemen just spoke about, and you may not know this about my upbringing, Mike, but I've never met my father. Okay, I've never seen a picture of him. I only know his name because it was on my birth certificate, right? And so growing up for me, I mean, I grew up, people say humble beginnings. I was under that. Okay. So I grew up in a country hood, single mother. And, she didn't talk about it a whole lot. She was kind of like old school mindset on that. But she raised me up tough to prepare me for what the world was going to kind of throw my way. So the lack of the father for me, I grew up a very angry kid, right? That's real. And so I often say sports saved me because I had a legal way to go out and put the aggression out to others that, kept me out of trouble.
We know that's football.
Yeah. That's why you got into the league or something like that.
Hey, football or hockey.
That's it. Boxing.
I could have easily went down a path where, I wouldn't be here talking with you all today. I'm a miracle, brother.
I get it. No.
So
Thank God for that.
Ask y'all this. I know, Mike, you kind of disclosed that last week, and Brother Travis, and you all can respectfully decline this question. If not, if I'm getting too personal, but have you ever thought about trying to find him and looking him up?
I did.
I
tried.
If he's not, what's going on? Did you have to have that desire?
I tried and failed.
Really?
That shit went sideways. I took a DNA joint, with someone that I thought, my sister, she still, whatever, but that just didn't turn out. And so at this point in time in my life, I'm like, well, I've made it thus far in my life. And I got to be at a point where I just got to be at peace with where I'm at right now and just say, okay, well, it's not meant for me to know that. And I used to feel like, man, what if, and I had to be reminded, like, well, what if he would have been in your life? You may not be right here right now. He might have put you on a trajectory that would not have you where you're at with the people that you're with right now. It could have went totally bad. So, as we all say, God don't make no mistakes. And so it ain't for me to question that part of it. So there was a period of time where it did bother me. And because my mother's no longer with me, I've always in many ways felt alone, even amongst whatever. I've always had that feeling of being alone.
Yep. I can relate.
But what it did do was it definitely gave me a blueprint of what not to do when the opportunity came to be a father. Like So I would say this before we go any further. I would simply say that we all have a choice. And so I never like to hear people say, I ain't had no father. I ain't either. I'm like Travis, don't know, wouldn't have picture. He could walk up on me and I wouldn't even know.
Yep.
But I did have a choice in what I wanted to be and how I wanted to be as a father. So I couldn't make no excuses.
Right.
I just had to figure that out. So
Right.
you know
Now, for me, brothers, it was a little bit of both, because my father was in my life, but he wasn't in my mother's life. He was abused my mother. He didn't abuse me. He was a father that was there physically, but being raised as a young man to become what I am today, he didn't do, because I myself had him in the home, but I learned exactly the same thing as you two brothers did, and that was how not to be a father in that particular way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Treating a woman and being there for his kids and doing the things that a man's supposed to do. All my father did was drink. He was a great singer, got an album out. He spoke the gospel when he was drunk, and he worked, and then once him and my...
He spoke the gospel when he was drunk.
Hey, that's usually when cats get the building. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if y'all ever noticed it. That's a whole different topic. But when a cat drunk or high, that's when people start asking them to build.
I'm gonna tell y'all what's so funny about that, because I know his daddy. So
I do too.
Here's Travis and Jimmy. I'm older than them cats. So like when he was little, like let's say 10 or 11, I was already like 16, 17. I knew it. So I remember he used to preach to me and talk to me and stuff when he came out. So I didn't say that. But when you said it, I was thinking in my mind, boy, I remember Lewis, boy, he used to preach.
So, as far as being raised off the back of that, which is very true, Mike remember me well because he did him the same way, but he could sing, brother. He could sing. He was a musician. He could do it all, brother. But, that was his thing. But, but with Pat's father and with Mike's grandfather and our Uncle Chevy and our Moses and our Mr. Johnsons and all of those guys and grown men in the neighborhood, Mr. Robinson, who owned the store, Pat, who was his father, owned the club, and Papa Dave was always there giving wisdom. I was raised by a village. So my experience as a father, man, it was pretty awesome once I think back on it, because without that vision, without that stick-to-itness that those guys had, even though they had their situations, man, I look back, it was actually pretty beautiful.
Hey, and so I'm glad you said that, because I wanted to ask this too, because I was doing a little research and we talked a little bit about this last week, about the reports and sometimes the stigma on Black fatherhood. But I wanted to ask y'all, do y'all feel like there's too much emphasis on the traditional family structure as it relates to Black men and them being fathers in Black fatherhood? Do y'all understand the question I'm asking?
Yeah.
Like, the breakdown as far as like, if you're not married in the home, two-parent home, do we put too much emphasis on that? Because, we talked about this, whether or not that actually is, when we talk about a village and we try to go back through history to see how we as a people, we had, a multitude of people that raised our children. And it wasn't just the father, but it was everyone, and everyone was a father to the child, and everyone was a mother to the child. And so that's kind of like who we are as a people. But then in this construct, they'll hit you with, 70% of Black women are unmarried, and 1 out of 9 this and this and this. But then they don't tell the other side that what those same group of men spend more time with their kids than the other ethnic group or demographic. But do we put too much emphasis on the traditional family? Is that a good thing, or should we put more emphasis on that quote unquote traditional family?
I think ultimately we need to put emphasis on a healthy family, right? And a healthy family can come in many different ways. I mean, you guys have probably seen it, people staying together because they think they're staying together for the benefit of the kids, but the kids see all that drama and all that trauma, and they end up hurting the kids more by staying together than being healthier apart. So I think the emphasis is on a healthy family structure, whatever that looks like. Now, I think it's true, all things being equal, if it's healthy, a two-parent household. I mean, I think it'd be hard to debate that a two-parent, household, if it's a healthy situation, isn't for lack of a better term, a desired state. But I think no matter what, you still can, parent your children, no matter what those circumstances are.
I agree with Jimmy, but I'm gonna agree it from a different perspective, different road. I think I do agree wholeheartedly with the healthy family, but I think for one, we don't know. And I say we don't know because I think it's confusing, because the majority of us don't know what our ancestors did in Africa, how their families were structured. The truth of the matter is, whether it's a touchy subject or should we say it or not, is that we were brought here, our ancestors were brought here, and this family has been we've been hit with this so-called family ideal from as long as any of us been on this earth, from the cleavers to the father, the son, happy house with the picket fence. So we don't know that that's right. We're only going by what they told us. Once our ancestors were here, their families were separated, right?
Right.
Separated, they sent the kids off to one plantation, they sent the wives and the husbands or whatever off. So I think, in my opinion, that's where the group came in, because everybody was raising somebody else's kids and family, and the best that we could do, our ancestors could do, would be to everybody join in to raise these kids and make a family. So I agree with Jimmy in the fact that I think that a healthy family is better than the traditional, kids. If it's an unhealthy situation, then it doesn't need to be.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
I can't.
Hey, also, let me say, if I get up real quick, I'm used to something a little stronger. And this one already I'm gonna have to go get me about 2-3 more. So I'll be right back if I have to go. This just ain't doing it right here.
See, I don't have that problem.
But you got the whole thing, brother.
That's what you get for trying to be brand new. but I would agree with both. I think that in Pat, what you were saying before. So Jimmy, when you were talking about being healthy, number one is important and a traditional. When we talk about what we know as today, a traditional two-parent family is always ideal for that balance. But I also think that we've allowed other people to kind of project what the family structure should look like, and kind of mold how that family would be from this perspective. So if I use the example that Pat used about coming here, taking the kids with being separated, the mothers, the men, whatever, and and putting you on the block to sell you whatever, and so it was like, well, that's not my child, but I lost my child, but we gonna love on that child, and we gonna love on that one, so forth and so on, because we all we got. That's kind of the same thing that we took as we continue to grow in this community, these different neighborhoods. Like, yeah, such and such may not be here, or something happened, or they passed away, or whatever the case. But Uncle Shelby, who wasn't nobody's uncle, but he was an elder, and we respected him. He was Uncle Shelby to all of us, and so he was a father figure to us. So he could sit us down and talk to us, and we had to listen to him, or my grandfather, or someone else. So I think that I feel like it's important for us to look at him, for us to have that family structure. But I know that when we look at that non-traditional family mode and the number of divorces and things of that nature, and we don't factor in that a large portion, 70% of black men, what they say in that Pew report, they spend time with their with their children. They under the age of 5 bathe, clothe, and change the diapers of their kids compared to 60% of white fathers and 35%. I think it was something of Hispanic, or maybe it was like 45%. So we are still trying to be in our children's lives, but that narrative is oftentimes that we're not. And then you have, whether it be President Obama or whether it be Bill Cosby before he got
Yes, sir.
the whole before he got. You know what I'm saying? He was chastising black fathers and things of that nature.
Yeah.
And it was like you buying into a stigma. And I'm looking at 5 gentlemen. We had somebody on, 2 other gentlemen that I was on, that I wanted to have on as well. And not saying that we were perfect in any shape, form, or fashion, but we not only fathers, but we daddies.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Let me ask you. Let me jump in here. Let me ask you this. First of all, let me say, and just for those listening, even though Bill Cosby got, that still don't have nothing to do with the messages that he was giving out.
Oh, absolutely. You know.
The one didn't have nothing to do with the other.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, Travis, do you think? And again, if I'm too deep on you
go with it, brother. It's all
but do you think you actually thought about that as you was coming up with your kids and say, hey, these are things I'm not going to do? Subconsciously you thought about that.
Well, that's a good question. I won't touch
or
on
did
that.
you just turn out, because that's the question I have in my mind. My father was in the house, but he really wasn't. And look at the man that I turned out to be. You say your father wasn't in the house, and Mike tells me you were a great dad. So did that really influence you, or did you just good as a good father?
No, it influenced me for sure. I mean, I definitely, learned kind of the hard way though, right? It would have been good to have some guidance so that I wouldn't have to, learn everything through experience, but somebody impart some wisdom. But
how many kids you got?
So I have 5. Okay,
5.
I have a daughter. When I went to college, so we grew up together. Okay, and so when I went to college back in '95, I took her with me, and at the time, her mother. Okay,
wow,
so that's a whole nother story. So I've been responsible, from that aspect. And her mother and me didn't work out, but we stayed friends and raised Ty.
Yeah,
wow. Ty is 27, doing great. She lives in Greenville, North Carolina, and I love her to pieces. We talk, every week, and we're real close. But my wife and I, for 14 years, we have 4. So we got 2 boys, 2 girls. And so, but it made me tougher. It made me stronger. It didn't feel great, but it definitely helped me to overcome whatever comes my way today. And I definitely will do anything it takes for my family. But I will say, growing up with the single parent and and the poverty and all that, it sucks, brother. And none of that. Right? Because I
want to commend you on that.
And looking at, how I do and my wife, we're good partners now. My kids are absolutely benefiting from, the structure that Akila and I put together to make it happen. So they definitely going to win from that. And my goal was to break that cycle. And so that was my goal, to be the anchor man to make that happen. And, God's will, I'll continue to do that. My kids don't know about that.
Did having a legend for a father, did that have an influence on you and your? I'm sorry taking over these questions, Mike, but it's still
good, brother. We all together. We all we got. CMB. We all we got, baby.
I might need to get this every week because it's got my
yeah. See, you focus. That Bacardi got you off center, bro. You got to go with them Coronas, bro.
So Jimmy, do you think that Because you know, I didn't grow up. My father wasn't famous, or what, did that? You think that had an effect? Because I know coming up like that, it can be a different childhood where you know you walking in the shadow of this man with these big shoes on in this area.
Yeah, it was more complex than that because my parents were together until I was probably early teen years. But even as I got closer and closer to my teen years, it was touch and go. It was touch and go with them, and then kind of maybe my last year in high school and throughout college, and maybe a year or two after college, my father and I basically were estranged. So it's kind of one of those situations where, even as I was getting older, I felt like, I'm the child, you're the parent. The responsibility lies with you to figure out how to reconnect. I shouldn't have to go do that as your child. So I was stubborn. I was stubborn in that way. So, and kind of like, Travis said, I mean, my family, particularly on my father's side, there was some generational, curses at play, particularly around alcohol. So he had his own challenges that, as a man, I understand that in a way today, that I didn't necessarily understand, as a child. So, but what was fortunate for me was I had some very good early, childhood, years with my dad where, he preached our last name and we're Rayfords and, Rayfords can do anything. And I kind of never forgot some of those lessons, but in terms of, having, own generational curses that I felt the responsibility to break and to also, not make some of those same mistakes he made along the way. Fast forward, we talk, every week now. He checks my LinkedIn page every damn day. So we're super close now. To be honest with you, a lot of that goes to my wife Bailey and his wife Paris. Kind of, as soon as they met, they hit it off, and kind of that relationship that they established kind of help bring the fold back together.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Beautiful.
That's what's up.
I wanted to just say this. I always go left. I'm very good at taking.
Oh shit.
I'll go left with you. Yeah, here we go. So I wanted to say to the listeners, first and foremost, as you can tell, amongst all of us brothers on the podcast speaking this evening, you do have choice, and as a young Black man, don't feel less fortunate or left out or think about giving up, because you can tell by the conversation tonight, you do have choice, and that choice lies strictly on you, on the decisions you make with a father or without a father. To answer Mike's question coming from me, I'm gonna go a little deeper, and most of you all know that I like to deal with self. Mm-hmm. And as you look upon self as a Black man in society today, and as we were raised, it's in our nature to take care of family. It is natural for us to think and to be able to take care of our siblings, our young, our neighbors. It's your choice whether you want to or not. So even though we have those outside influences, and we are a product of our environment, I do believe that wholeheartedly. So with all the pressures and all the sayings and all that stuff, man, you still have choice in the matter. And whether you want to be a good father or a bad father, that's your path you're going to have to take. I just wanted to lay that out there. Yes, sir.
No, I appreciate that. I do want to take it to another spot. I want to do a little sunshine. I want to, because I think when I ask this, I think this is going to bring a smile to people's faces, because you're going to have to think about something. You're gonna have to go to a happy place. So, well, let's see. Maybe not this question, because maybe everybody might be like, "Oh shit." So when you found out that you were going to become a father, what was going through your mind? That first thought, those first couple of thoughts that was happening when you and we're gonna keep it. We're gonna keep it 1,000.
My first thought, brother, I was scared to death. Because my first experience, check this out, man. My first experience, I got my head split to the white meat. This is what she told me. Let me draw y'all a picture. I hit it. I quit it. We still kicking it. 3 months in, I'm pregnant. I said, you what? Mind you, I'm only like, 15, 16.
Right.
Oh boy,
so
okay.
I'm young. I don't know nothing. My dad ain't told me nothing but put on a rubber, boy. That's what he taught me. So I ain't putting on no rubber. I didn't. And when she came back and said I'm pregnant, I was like, oh, my mama's gonna kill me. My Lord, what am I gonna do? She said, don't worry about it. I'm gonna get it aborted. I didn't know nothing about abortion. All I knew was she getting rid of the baby. How can I help? I said, okay. I don't think this is right, but I'm gonna do it anyway, because I can't raise no baby right now. I'm still in high school. We go down. I'm like, okay. She say, it's gonna cost $400 to get this abortion. I said, okay. I gave her $400. I was happy. I knew it was done. I didn't see no receipt. All I seen was a new pair of tennis shoes, a blue jean outfit, and a matching hat, man. I was mad as shit. Man, she got me. Ooh, so that was my first experience, man. Busting me. She didn't know she wasn't no pregnant, man. She lied like a damn rug, man. Lied between 2 drops of rain. Man, I was, oh boy, I don't even want to talk about it no more.
She wasn't pregnant?
Man.
She wasn't pregnant?
No, she wasn't pregnant. Man. Shit. Man, come on, man. Come on, man.
Okay. All right. So,
yeah,
all right.
So that was my first time.
Who's gonna follow that up?
Nobody.
Oh my God.
All right. For everybody that didn't have that experience,
oh,
what was
man.
that? What was that feeling? What was that? Because I got a follow up to that one.
My first was a little weird because I was a private in the Army and I was in Germany and she was German. And I was still fairly young, having already been to college, already, thinking I was grown. And I was a little scared, a little anxious, a little excited, but I was worried because I knew I wasn't going to stay in Germany. And me and her had already had multiple conversations. She really didn't want to come to the United States. And then she popped up pregnant. So I was really worried about having a child overseas and I would not be able to be a part of their life, at such an early age. But turns out that she ended up losing the baby. But that was my first experience.
Well, I was actually a teenage father.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Like I needed my life to be more complex. It was already complex enough, but and so like I mentioned earlier, when all of that went on, and at the time, in high school, I was being recruited by all kinds of, colleges, universities, etc. And so I end up, instead of leaving the state of North Carolina, I went to East Carolina so that I could raise my child, be closer to the family. And at the time, my mother was ill, and so I moved her to Greenville as well. She passed away when I was in college, but I always
hear that, bro.
My daughter. Yeah, it's been some time, but but I always kept my daughter with me. So it wasn't an idea start off, but we've always had a great relationship. So
you got to the NFL from East Carolina?
Yeah, we actually produce NFL.
You had to be balling, because there probably ain't 35 students in that school. You got the NFL from East Carolina?
There's a lot of brothers that went to the league.
Hold on.
Brother.
You was balling. I mean, you was coming across that line knocking wigs loose.
He was a head hunter. That's what we call a head hunter.
You look, it's been several brothers go to play some next level ball from ECU. Yeah.
That's what's up, brother.
So I would say, since we went that way, I was because I was thinking something else, but y'all went this way, and I can flow with that too. So I can remember the first time, I actually was a private as well, and I was leaving Fort Ben Harris on my way to Fort Stewart, but it was around Christmas break, so dealing with someone, and hadn't really talked to them. Like I'm leaving, they duty station, I'm going to my duty station, and I'm sitting here watching TV, grandma's house at the time, get a phone call. Now when the phone rung, you know how them spirits be working on you, just feeling like you might not want to pick up this phone.
Yeah.
Because I don't know why, but I was like, I don't know. So answer the phone. She like, hey. I said, hey. She said, I got something to tell you. I said, what is that? She said, I miss my cycle. I was like, well, what does that mean? She said,
did it write a letter before it left?
Look, I look. She said, I think I'm pregnant. I said, I ain't say nothing for about 5 minutes. And if you ever been on the phone for at least a minute and ain't nobody said nothing,
that's a long time. That's a long
5
time.
minutes. I just
that's
sat
a
on the
long
phone.
time.
I was like, and I'm looking at the phone, like. She said, "You got anything to say?" No. Like, how many weeks? So she told me. So I put hands to God. When I got to Fort Stewart, I was counting back. I was going to the hospital. I was like, okay, so if I remember when I did it the first time, and I was counting back how many weeks, like, what's the gestation period? I'm trying to figure this whole thing out, because I'm like, Lord help us all. So it took a long time, and it was years, bro. I ended up having to take a DNA test, but I was on my way to Korea. By the time I got that test results back in Korea, and it was like, you are not the father, bro, I jumped up like I was Fred Astaire. You know how they do that little click of the shoes? I was like, oh man, but because I knew, but what was crazy was it was just like, I can't even describe it, but it was the exact opposite when I found out that I was when my twins were coming.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? And we wouldn't even make it was just it was a whole different feeling that I was like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? And not that I wouldn't have, did what I had to do, but it was just a different feeling, a different experience altogether. From that period to when I found out that I was going to have twins. Now I did hit that wall when they told me I was going to have twins, because I was like, when they put that thing on there and I started looking, I said, man, it looked like two. He need to slow down a little bit on the belly. It looked like he waving like it's when he said, oh, look at here. Got a surprise. We got two. I was like, two or what? I said, there go the neighborhood. I said,
what about you, Jimmy?
Yeah, so I was at a different phase in life. So when we had our daughter, Reese, I was 33.
Oh, brother.
My wife and I had been married for 7 years.
Yeah.
So we were pretty well kind of established. So
that's tough. Yeah, we gotta as men, and I try to tell this to my son, like we gotta be more responsible with a thing, because we run out some, we give our energy out as if it's not, we always talk to our daughters of like it's precious, but just the same thing, bodies and our energy, our spirit is
Our temple.
is
I gave
priceless
a
as
lot of
well.
energy. I gave a lot of energy out too.
Hey, I gave out a
You know
lot, and
what?
I done wasted a lot of energy too.
You know what? Okay,
You
let's
thought
go.
I was the one in blue pills back then. They didn't even have them then.
All right, let's go. All
Lucky they
right,
didn't.
because we on
Yeah.
a whole different one.
Now you gonna have his work cut out for him to edit this
Oh
joint.
Lord, good Lord
Oh, man.
Almighty. My God.
Oh man.
All right, so check this out.
But what about my wasted energy I got? Shit.
Y'all stupid. Hey, but I'm glad we can laugh about this as
Yeah,
fathers,
man,
because
fatherhood is beautiful, man.
it's beautiful. It's sad. It's
It
hard.
really is.
It's hard.
That's
Yeah.
facts. So I want to
Yes,
ask
sir.
y'all this: in your current situation or before, whatever, what did it feel like the first time you laid eyes on your baby?
Boy, that was beautiful.
Yeah, I can tell you, I cried.
That was if there is a creator, if there is a God that you believe in, when you look down at that, you know you are him. You know you are a child of the Most High when you look upon your seed, man. And I want to say this to my children that are listening: I love you.
That'd be more expensive. You taking sunglasses off.
That was a beautiful feeling, man. Because you never knew. You know all the
I want to
possibilities.
see your eyes. Let me see you say it with your eyes. Let me see your eyes.
It's silly. Hey, no, I'm gonna tell you though.
When I look down and
Yeah,
saw
go
my
ahead.
son, man, I can't even explain the joy, the feeling that I had, and it was the most wonderful day of my life.
No, facts. I can remember, writing down, the okay, this is she's having this contractions here, contractions. And I'm scared because because I did not. So I'm doing this. I remember it was on a Friday. We go in, and waiting, and I'm nervous, and so I know I'm gonna have these twins. So they got induced labor, and so my son comes out, and the doctors, they take him first, and I'm waiting to see him, and I'm waiting to hear that cry. I need to hear that noise, and then I hear him, and then I'm able to kind of see him for a second, but then I know that there's another, baby in there. So 2 minutes later, my daughter come out, and I gotta wait for that process to do that, and then they like, okay, my ex-wife at the time, she's good, she's doing that. So now I get the chance to go over and see my kids, and like I said, man, I just tears were in my eyes. I was just like, and at that moment, I knew that there was absolutely nothing that I wouldn't do to give them the world. Like it was absolutely nothing. That damn pride. There was absolutely nothing. 6, you remember when I moved back from Indy before I got back into the military?
Yes, sir.
And,
Yes, sir.
and I was, going through the situation, and
Yeah,
this is before
I remember that.
I got a degree. Yeah. But anyway, but 6, you remember, and remember you got me in that the little gig, like, and so I went from
little job.
being
Yes,
in
sir.
finance, dealing with all this money, doing all these different things, but didn't have my degree at the time, and getting out and trying to find work or whatever, and doing this. Man, I remember being in this bathroom, and we had to clean the bathroom, and I had a toothbrush scrubbing the tile. I remember sitting there like, damn, this is some different stuff right here, because I wasn't doing this in the military, even on KP. But I knew that in order to make some bread, in order to do it, because I wasn't about to do nothing illegal or nothing like that. I just remembered it ain't nothing that I wouldn't do to make sure that my kids had it. So much so that because I didn't want to be back in the military, I was like, and this was right after 9/11, I joined back into the military because I knew that was the best option for me, and ended up getting my degrees and all those different things. But it was just that experience of just and then to watch them to grow and to go on trips and to like, man, it is nothing, man, it ain't nothing like it. It ain't nothing like it. It ain't nothing like it. Travis, Jim, what you got?
Well, you know, sometimes I don't know if I'm the best father in the world, and a lot of times feel like work. Okay, can I get real?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I love my
You're
baby.
absolutely right.
I love my kids. It's awesome. But I think that it's a fine balance of, am I doing too much? You know, like, I don't expect them to come up like I did, so they have no idea like what my mindset is to like make it happen. You know, I got that grind in me that's just different, and they don't, and that sometimes that concerns me.
That's all of us.
Yeah.
That's all of us.
Right?
All
yeah.
the same bus.
I'm dealing with it every day.
Yep,
Right.
no doubt.
So that's just some of my
2 hours
thoughts.
ago.
Yeah. So it's beautiful, but it's work, right?
You know,
You hit on something.
my youngest is 22, and I love her to death, but that girl got a mouth on her, man. And I understand what you're talking about. I deal with it every day. And you know, my son, we were just, it's funny, I'm laughing about it, but you know, I'm still trying to teach him a lot of management, money management. He'll go out and buy a new brand. He's married with kids. He'll go buy a brand new Xbox and then ask me for lunch money the next day. He'll tell my wife, "Hey, Dad told you that?" She was like, "Yeah, we talk about everything." Well, he wasn't supposed to tell you that.
Oh man,
Jimmy, what you got, doctor?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first time I held my daughter, it was the obviously joy and all that, but the weight of the responsibility hit me soon after the joy, just in terms of I brought this child into the world. I am no longer just responsible for myself. There's a human being that is depending on me, and just instantaneously feeling a level of responsibility that I had never even fathomed.
Right.
Yeah. And that's what and that's the thing that we want our young fathers and even our older fathers that are new or whatever, like, yo, it's a responsibility and you can't run from it, man. You know, you did this. You did this, and it ain't got nothing to do with that woman and with y'all relationship or whatever. It's like, yo, you responsible. You responsible for this life. You got to do everything that you can to make sure, in spite of that woman, sometimes, even if she trying everything to keep you because she's mad or whatever, you still got a responsibility. You got to go even extra hard to do that. And Travis, you said so. I want to go there and ask this question, and I might try to come back. But I did want to ask y'all about what do you think is the most difficult part about being a father?
Man, that's complicated.
That's a
try to get these lessons out.
Right.
I think it's balance.
Balance.
I like what Travis said earlier. I think it's balance. I think balancing, because the truth of the matter is, and you know, we used to say, the old people, well, I used to walk 10 miles to school. We find ourselves doing that too, and we don't realize it. We tell our kids because we did come up in a different time and a different struggle. So the truth of the matter is balancing, not doing too much, not doing enough, being a good father, being someone that's there for them, but not sacrificing their growth by doing too much for them. I think balance is it.
Man,
I think you hit the nail on the head, brother. I think about that quite a bit, you know, because I just see him kind of go up against some things, and you know, it bothers me when I see him, you know, not give that effort that I know it requires to be successful in whatever you choose to do. You know, I'm not trying to steer them on where to go and which way to do or what career and things, to a degree, but I just want to make sure they have a growth mindset. So they know that they can, you know, you can do whatever if you are willing to put the work in to see it through, right? So
Yeah.
that's the challenge.
You didn't fail from ECU.
Yeah. right.
And that's hard, man. It's hard to. It takes a level of discipline that I hadn't found yet to consistently deprive your kids of things that you know you can. Not only do you know you can afford it, but actually in your heart of hearts you want them to have it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's and I am failing in that arena.
I failed, Jimmy, because I'm gonna tell you something. I did so much for my kids because I did. I had this thing in my head. Me, Junior, Mike, and we walked everywhere. I didn't get a car until I was in the Army. So this thing, when I have kids, when they turn 16, they all getting cars. I'm talking about with the ribbon on the front and everything. My youngest is 22 now, or 23, and I've spoiled my kids so bad that they don't have the drive and stuff that we do. So I love them, but I think I failed them in that aspect because they've had everything given to them, and it's like they don't have that get up and go.
Yeah.
So,
Same here. Same here.
Same thing. We all on the same, but I have my oldest, Michi's 31, 32. So you brothers know that what I was talking about earlier about having children at a young age. We grew up together. Then I have a 30-year-old daughter, and the most beautiful thing about that is with my firstborn and my second, I just had a grandbaby 2 months ago, I believe. KK is like 2 months ago. That's that feeling. I'm not saying it's better. It's a better feeling. It's nothing compares to holding your first child, but seeing your grandbabies born, and I don't know if any of you brothers have grandbabies now.
Nope.
But, it is a.
You got five? You got five, Pat?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. But I got 5 also, Faith.
Yeah.
Yep, I have 5 also. Wow.
That's why I don't stay. That's why I don't stay in y'all house when I come down.
Hey, Mike, brother Six just said something. Write this down. We might have to make this an episode.
What's that?
Is it me or do all black kids get a nickname? That baby for 2 months old, he done called a KK. Is it me? We always got.
No, we give them to him, man. We give them to him from the gate. We give them to him from the gate, bro.
Hey, I'm the uncle and don't even know the baby name because he called it a I think the baby name KK.
Her name is Christian, and we don't do nicknames or nothing like that, but she just looks like a KK. Oh, she's so adorable, man. She's beautiful. She's absolutely beautiful.
That's crazy.
Man, that's a beautiful feeling, man.
Yeah.
To see that, over and over again, and then you think about. Let's go to the root for a minute, brothers, on how this started. Fatherhood, and look at all the things we've talked about and what we actually learned from something we thought we had no idea.
Yeah.
The hats off to Brother Jimmy. And brother, I try to preach that to my children all the time. I have an 18-year-old, and I'm like, Pat and this brother here, I just want him to do so good. And he's a great basketball player, and he's doing well in college now. Man, it's my first go around, so I didn't come from a whole lot. So to see that and to try and prepare him, man, it's hard, brother. Jimmy, brother, you are absolutely right. It's hard. And with my first child, I don't know if I failed or succeed. Did I do better with my second? Am I going to treat my grandson? So, man, with all of that going on with your children, as a man and as a father or a daddy, however you want to label it, am I doing my best? And all I'm living for and breathing for are those grandchildren and my children, man. That's all we do. That's all we know now.
Well,
nothing else matters.
But what I wanted to add on to that was that I think sometimes, when people find out like about that, they instantly go to the result. And I remember in therapy, my therapist saying, "You
therapy?
Yeah, nigga, I went to therapy. What are you talking about? What?
I mean, ain't nothing wrong with it.
Well, okay, so that's what I'm saying. Why you say therapy?
Yeah,
okay. Well, get it together then. Get it together.
I'm gonna tell you, brother Six.
You hear that, listeners? It's okay to get therapy, man. It's a part of life, man.
Yeah.
But a lot of therapists, I've been in therapy.
Yeah.
A lot of veterans do. I've been in therapy.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing
You
wrong with it.
need therapy.
Yeah, I do. I admit. You shouldn't say things. You shouldn't say things to people like you ugly and take your glasses off. I want to say, you need some therapy, bro.
So,
Oh,
so
you
listen.
did take them off too. I didn't notice that. But
Yeah,
go ahead,
he
Mike.
did.
Go ahead.
So no, what I was gonna say was this: that they instantly said, "Don't be tied to the result." And I think that people they immediately start thinking about the result. Am I going, man, this really ain't a pass or fail thing. It's just, you got to get through it. You stick around long enough to get through it.
Mike, it's so real that you said that.
Yeah.
So many people have done a great job, but their kids strayed the wrong way.
And some did not a good job.
Or not.
Yeah, it's like all we could do is our very best.
Yeah.
And this, if we are evolving enough that we can say, okay, I learned from this, and if you blessed to be around some other good men that are doing some things that you may not be doing yourself, or you can look over
or as well,
and look to your right and to the left, and you say, okay, I see what they're doing. Let me pick up my game. Let me do a little something here and there. And then you want to look at the arc of your life, and at the end, that time will tell. We still on this journey, and it's never too late to get in the game. It's never too late to be a part of your child's life. It's never too late to. So I just want to encourage anybody that may be listening, that's going through something that for whatever reason wasn't a part of that kid's life, their children's life in the beginning, not the baby goats, but a children's life, to be like, yo, listen, it's never too late. You know what I mean? It's never too late. You got to eat all that comes with that, but it's never too late.
You know what I mean? About growth, man, and I've been opening up a lot tonight.
That's it, boy. That Corona.
You got Corona, but let me tell you, brother, something. And I know my son won't mind this, but when you speak about being a good father, I stayed in my son, and I tried to teach him what's right. And me being in the military, we lived in a affluent neighborhood, and everything was great. But my son strayed to them streets, and I stayed on him. And every day I told him the consequences, and I did the best that I could do to shield him, and he got in some trouble. And 3 years later, I went to what would be called graduation, of him getting out of trouble, is what I'm going to say.
Yes, sir.
I'm talking about. Right. And it brought tears to my eyes. He stood up there. He was the valedictorian of this institution,
right?
If you will. They asked him to speak, and I was in the audience, and he said, a lot of people in here say their fathers wasn't there, what their fathers didn't do, and none of this was rehearsed. He said, but I'm gonna tell y'all something. My father was in my life every single day. He's still here. He's right here, right today. And he told me the consequences. He told me right and wrong. He punished me. He rewarded me. He did all he could. I made these decisions, which landed me here. And he was like, but I've learned from it. I'm going to grow from it. And I just wanted to tell my father I love him, and I appreciate all that he tried to do for me. And now today, he's been out 4 years now. He's working for the city. He's married, got a beautiful home, brand new cars, got a son. I mean, life is great. And I hate to say this, but I think he needed that journey in order to be where he's at in life today. And the point that I'm making is, even if we do our best, whatever they so-called call the best, and you're there and you're doing everything, sometimes it's just not enough.
Yeah. And that's the thing about fatherhood, man. That's the thing about parenthood, about being a parent, is that you just don't know. You just got to keep pouring in.
All you got to do is keep doing.
And I'm so proud of him now, man.
Yeah, no, that's dope. That's dope, and I'm proud. I'm proud of it, and I'm proud of you as well as all you brothers. But I feel like, I think I just want to hit that. I just want to keep pounding that table. It's like, Black men, it's up to us to save each other.
The choice, man.
Like we gotta start holding ourselves accountable.
Accountable, yes, sir.
And we gotta be the example. let me rephrase that, because we are the example. We have to show the world the truth, the reality.
Stand
We
on
are
that.
not people,
Not the myth,
not
the
the
reality.
myth, but the reality.
Stand on
And
that.
we gotta raise them up. And I've been thinking about something had been on my head, and I was thinking about this early today.
Walk, brother. Walk.
I'm not sure. I don't even know how I'm gonna plan it. I don't even know how I'm gonna do it. But I would like to do a father sometime soon. I'd like to just have a call for fathers and their kids. We find a park.
Yeah.
We do a cookout, have some music, but it's just a call to fatherhood.
Let me put a smile. Let me put a smile to
I don't
that
know
real
how.
quick.
Yeah.
Let me put a smile to that because I'm gonna walk with you on that because I am one who just turned 51 and they don't do nothing for Father's Day. Every time Mother's Day come up, man, we go and spend half our check, man. They get all the praise. Like we ain't did nothing.
No, I ain't even talking about on the Father's Day.
Check this out.
What's that?
I still got a little fake gold. Hold on, peep this now. Gold watch with the little chain. You know how you wear the watch? First of all, we don't even wear that stuff. I told my wife, I still get in my drawer with my watches. I told my wife, my kids gave it to me. They probably was in early teens. I said, I'd rather y'all bought me a 6-pack of Corona than bought me this little fake.
For Father's Day, man.
I don't even know what they call you. Papa Logan.
Right.
I follow you, Mike. I know what you're saying. That's a beautiful idea, but I just took it to that part too. Because we don't get the praise that we do. However you try to set it up.
No, and I get it, but this is more like about. I think it's always powerful when we see one another, in a mix, and we just can get out and just be like, "What's up, man? King? How you doing, brother?" You know what I'm saying? Me and Jimmy was just last week. We was at a little get together with the wives at the little dinner LeBlanc thing, and it turned into a black all white party. Really, it was. Travis, was you there too?
No.
Okay, yeah, you missed this one.
I was,
but it was but it's just going around, and then you see people with you see brothers, and so you'd be like, you try to make it a point. Like cat got on a hat or something, you'd be like, yo, I see you, man. That's a man, I like that brim, bro. You know what I'm saying? And and the cat will be like, oh man, thank you, man. I appreciate that, or so forth and so on. And it's almost like we don't do that enough. We don't big each well, and I don't want to be negative, but I think we just need to, let me put it like this. We need to big each other up more.
Yeah.
We need to salute.
Yeah,
we need to salute our fathers. Yeah, we got to do that, man. We just.
But I think this podcast is a start. Since we've had this, a few months, I've met Jimmy, I've met Travis. They already feel like family. We met the doctor. We met your father-in-law. So I think opening the lines of communication is a start, and talking about it, getting the talk out there. We start communicating because I think these brothers are great. I can't wait to actually. I think I remember.
Hang out with the brothers.
Like I said, Jimmy
again.
was. I mean, it was such a blur at the wedding, man. At the thing, man. I remember meeting Jimmy and his wife.
I think that might have been the first time we actually ever met.
It was the first time that we met, and he was like, "Hey, they and Jack and Jill." I was like, "Hey, what's going on?" Boom, boom, boom. And I was thinking, I told my wife later on that day, she was like, "Do you remember meeting Jimmy?" I said, "Yeah," but I was like, "Damn, my cats from Louisville was there." I was like, "I wonder." They probably think we wild as a mug, right? You know what I'm saying? Because they were double fisted. They look. If I told you what Pat thought, he was like, he done got us in this little bougie little thing. Ain't got no food. They ain't see the other side of it, right? Jimmy, they was talking dirty about me, man. Hey, they was talking dirty about me, Jimmy. Hey, they opened up that door, and then they was like, we had that first little hour or two where you could get drinks. Bruh, I seen more people with 2-3 drinks in their hand. They was getting it in. I was like, oh man, this is wild.
Got to be a
straight party.
It was straight. We gonna get another one.
Let me tell you this, Mike.
What's up?
In all my life and all the weddings I've been to, that spread y'all had was dope.
With that purple.
So for everybody that listening, so you know what I'm talking about. They had like a chef there, and he had these little frying pans for, let's keep it all the way hood. I'm tired of being bougie and educated. They had these little skillets. And, and he was putting pasta in it, and then you could go down the line and you could get shrimp, pork, whatever. So almost got like a little Alfredo. You could get tomato sauce, Alfredo sauce.
Yeah. We had a couple of different stations, man. Yeah, it was cool.
I've never seen that before. That was dope.
Well, you wouldn't have got it if it had been for my wife. I'd have had a sack of 10 for everybody on the table from White Castle.
Yeah, I had a candy bar too.
We had a candy bar. Yeah,
that was dope, man. That was dope.
Yeah. Now it was cool. We just wanted to have we Travis and Jimmy know.
Yeah.
Me and Trey, if it's music on, you know, you can find us. You know, we on the flow. You know what I'm saying? So we wanted to make a party to where it was one of those things where you had to be up, you had to interact, you had to talk, and we gonna do something. We gonna do something different because the same way that I feel about the fathers. I feel like when we have music, that brings us together because Black people and music is synonymous. And I feel like when we come together, there's nothing but positivity. So when you see another brother or when you see men with their children, and it's nothing but men with their children, we already know what time we on. We ain't on no foolishness. We ain't on no set tripping. We ain't on nothing but uplifting one another, encouraging one another to keep moving forward and pushing the narrative that we in our lives. And if you're not, to get in your life. So I see that flickering light.
There it is.
So I don't know if y'all know Travis, Jimmy, in our neighborhood, when the street lights start to flicker.
Hey, you better be on that porch.
Yeah.
Quick, fast, and hurry. I don't know, Jimmy. You know you probably the youngest out of all us on this cast. I don't know. Maybe you and Travis, y'all might. I don't know. But
hey, Mike, let me throw this in here real quick. And I know people that have watched this before, have heard this before, but I would say it again. I don't care. Hey, I can remember standing in the corner, like you see in the movies. We singing, we doing whatever, and next thing you know, somebody noticed that street light that came on, and no words. There's absolutely no words. It just dispersed. I'm kicking out from under my feet, trying to get back around there.
You needed to be in the house or on the porch. Like, you had to be in the house and then ask permission to go on the porch once them lights came on.
That's right. That's right.
So we didn't have to worry about where your kids was after dark because we knew where we
no
was
hanging
at.
out past 11 o'clock, 2 o'clock out here. No, wasn't none of that.
It's
real quick, Mike, before we let loose, on our anniversary coming up for the podcast, we're gonna have a reunion for the podcast or something like that.
It may be. It's been.
I think it's close.
Yeah, I figure we'll figure out. I'll figure out that date and we'll see how we can
getting the brothers back. Yes, getting everybody back.
It's some topics that we haven't even touched.
Hey, how many people can you have on here?
I can have as many as I want. We can literally look like the Brady Bunch on this joint.
Yeah. So we can maybe have Jimmy back.
A reunion. Everybody back. Yes, sir.
What's my man that went to Notre Dame?
Ken Barlow, but Jimmy went to Notre Dame too.
Oh yeah.
Hold up.
Yeah.
Hold up.
For graduate school.
Graduate school.
He went to graduate school, but see, a Clemson guy.
In the whole United States.
Yeah, I'm a Clemson fan.
And you went to Notre Dame?
I went to Notre Dame for grad school. I went to Clemson undergrad.
Hold up. Lightning's great strike. Hold up. I didn't go. You know what? To tell you the truth, I'm about 6 months or so from my doctorate now. But I actually, at one point, was going to drop out of my program to go because Notre Dame has a doctorate program. But then I found out it's just a certificate. I forgot the name of it, but it's a certificate that you can get. And I still may get it just to say that I have something from Notre Dame.
Right,
but
man, that fool love Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Notre Dame.
Yeah, hey. I don't know how, but he does.
I'm learning to love it.
Hold on, I'm gonna show you something else. This football is fine. I can see that. This is autograph football.
Man,
hang on. Who signed it? Who signed it?
I don't know. No, I take that back. It's the whole team. Y'all can't.
Rudy signed it.
Oh,
Hey,
don't
let me tell y'all
let
something real
that.
quick. We can't get out here. Listen, y'all got to picture this. I'm at the time I was a sergeant major of a battalion. So I'm home. Okay, I take that back. I was the first sergeant. The sergeant major was out of town. I was the acting sergeant major for that weekend. So I'm at home chilling. They called me. They said, Sergeant Major, you need to come in. They got a bunch of privates and stuff here, and the post commander and post sergeant major want, the leadership here. I said, God, dog. Put my little stuff on. Get there. I see about 100 privates in there. If y'all can picture this in an auditorium. I'm like, well, who's here today? They said, Rudy Rudiker. I said, who? And Rudy Rudiker, he's a guest speaker. Jumped in my car, went home, to about 100. Got my movie. DVD, brought it back. And I'm in charge. I already told y'all that. Wait. Get all the way to the front. Hugged brother Abe about 5'5".
Oh my God. This
My
dude.
movie signed, hugged and took pictures. That's my fucking greatest day of my life.
Oh, look at him.
Oh my God.
Hercules.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Hey, boy, hey, you lucky Rob ain't on here.
Right.
You the blue.
Hey, listen. Go on.
That's beautiful.
6. Go ahead and close us out, brother. Go on.
Well,
What you got?
Closing out, I just wanted to say to all the listeners out there, tell somebody to tell somebody to tell somebody. The fatherhood, the neighborhood, all of the hoods you can think about. This is one of the most beautiful podcasts that I've been on, because we as being a father, it is hard. It's I'm not going to take nothing away from her. I'm walking it, I'm talking it, but I'm also being it. So with that in mind, I just want to say to the fathers out there, the young fathers especially, the young Black fathers especially, man, to ride with Mike on this, it's never too late to do what you need to do. And by nature, you know what that is. So I know it. I know you can be afraid at times, but as the old saying from the hood would say, hey, don't do the crime if you can't do the time. You made the bed, lay in it.
That's it.
There's nothing else to be said about that, And I love all my listeners and all the fathers out there that I know back in the Ville and all over the world, man. Pieces out to you, hats off to you. I want to say keep up the good work at doing what you do with what you got. I'll leave with that, Brother Pat.
I'm closing with, first of all, it's a pleasure meeting Brother Jimmy and Brother Travis.
Yes, sir.
I sincerely appreciate you all taking the time out of your night to come and spend a little time with us. To everybody that's listening and watching, like you said, it's never too late. Please tell somebody to tell somebody. We're trying to make this thing a household name, a classic, because these are great conversations, not just because we're on and I'm part of it, but these are things that need to be done.
Well, that's partly the reason.
Please go Irish.
Oh, come on, man.
Look at here.
I ain't gonna knock it.
Hey, I'm gonna send it to Travis and Jimmy. Y'all got any closing statements, anything like that you would want to impart, or just in general?
Go ahead, Travis.
Hey, just appreciate the invite, man, and great conversation. Definitely a much needed conversation around fatherhood. Something I'm proud of. I know a lot of good fathers out there working hard, working smart to make it happen. And God bless you all, man. Appreciate that you brought me on.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, thank you. God bless the family too.
Yes, sir. What's up, Jimmy?
Yeah, so like Travis said, I appreciate the invite. And I'll tell you guys, I had one of them damn days today in the office, so I needed this fellowship this evening. So it was right on time. And to the listeners, we kicking it and having a good time. But the subject matter at hand is a serious subject matter. I mean, being a parent and being a father is serious business, and studies show, particularly with daughters, that the relationship daughters have with their fathers actually is a greater predictor of their future life than that of their mothers. So mothers are important, don't get me wrong, but we play a vital role in the health and well-being of our kids and children, of our children. And we brought them in, and the responsibility is ours. And
Yes,
I don't know about you fellas, but it's different than it used to be, right? Back in the day, father could come home, grunt at the kids and sit in front of the TV and watch TV and eat dinner, and don't nobody bother him, right? And it ain't like that anymore. Nah. It ain't like that anymore.
Far from it.
But it is what it is, and it's on us.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
No, I appreciate
That's beautiful.
So I close it out like basically saying, even like what Jimmy was talking about with the relationship, and part of it is because if you anything like us, we got a relationship with the AR-15. So yeah. if say less. Yeah, what I'm saying. What's understood don't need to be said. Like you can act up if you want to. But with that, I would say first and foremost, the doors of the church is always open to you, brothers. It's like Mr. Rogers' neighborhood or Mr. Robinson's neighborhood. You always welcome. We on Tuesdays. This is what we do. I have no idea, brother. He owns one, but all y'all got to do is knock on the door, and y'all always welcome. Y'all ain't got to say, "Hey man, what y'all talking about?" Hey, just come in. Y'all welcome. Y'all.
I got the link. I got the link now.
You got the link. Y'all got the link. You're always welcome, bro. I'm telling you, these are facts. Y'all always welcome, brother. Y'all always welcome. Yo.
It don't matter how many degrees and how much education you got, you always learn something. This been bothering me since the beginning. I know we're getting off here, but this brother told me something about kids being baby goats. I never heard that before. I just looked it up. Doctor. I never heard that before. So
yeah.
I'm thinking, where did he get that from? So
you probably thinking, what the hell is Six talking about?
Baby goats are called kids. A female goat is known as a nanny.
The nanny goat.
So, I'm sorry.
Wow.
That's been bothering Pat the whole last hour and a half.
I'm thinking, the whole time I'm thinking,
hey, I expect that from a Notre Dame fan. Yeah, you gotta always win. Just like Rudy, you gotta win.
Right.
You the winner.
Look at him. But I would say this.
Ahead, yes, sir.
It's very rare. Well, it's not very rare, but it's on camera, so it's easy for me to say this with these four gentlemen on here that knowing them the longest, Six and Pat, but also. With Travis and Jimmy, man, I love you brothers to death. Yeah. I respect the hell out of all four of you gentlemen, but I really, man, y'all, Jimmy, Travis, Six, Pat, y'all know how I feel. I love y'all to death. I appreciate y'all. I'm growing, and the reason why I'm growing is because I've surrounded myself around men that I can watch and I can mimic. And I can take from. And I don't care if you're older than me or you're younger than me. I'm watching and I'm learning. And I put myself in a room to never be the smartest person in the room. And I can say that damn near I'm always the dumbest person in the room. So I'm always learning something. And I appreciate you brothers and what y'all bring to the table. And so with that, and because it's special and because the doors are always open to Mr. Robinson's neighborhood, I'll leave y'all with this. The time is now, and the week is new, and we'll have more podcasts for you. And you'll have things you want to talk about. We will too. See you later.
See you later.